Find yourself a comfortable way to sit, and either sitting on a bolster with your hips slightly higher than your knees in Vajrasana. Showed that before, so like this, with the buttocks area on the bolster, or cross-legged position, or on a chair. If you are sitting on a chair, making sure that your buttocks is on the bolster and the legs are off and the feet firmly, softly connected to the ground. And then let's tune in. We're going to go on a journey through the energy centers today, so we will tune into the different energy centers, just warming them up. So you can go within, taking the head slightly back, tucking the chin in so that the back of the head is aligned with your tailbone. Opening the front of the body, smiling from collarbone to collarbone. And then allowing every part of you that is connected to the ground or the surface you are sitting on to grow roots into the ground. So allow your imagination to be really vivid, imagining roots growing to the center of the earth. You can close your eyes to make the imagination stronger. The imagination is one of those capacities within us that nowadays is not schooled often enough. So we need to train it like we train a muscle, and stretch it like we stretch a muscle. So stretch those roots in your imagination all the way, draw them all the way down to the center of the earth. And then take one hand to the space just below the navel and one hand to the same space but on the back. And just breathe into that space between your hands, allowing that area to soften. So allowing the sacral energy center to soften. The part in us that is playful, the part in us that doesn't take the situations of life too seriously, but is playful with them. The joyful part, that part of us that can still wonder and be curious and be in the moment and be in the flow of life. So the part of us that is connected to joy and that is connected to open feelings. Allowing that space to warm up. And then take the front hand onto the solar plexus, so the space just below the chest, where the ribs part. And the back hand, depending on your flexibility, just as high as you can take it. You can also change around, see what feels best for you. And then warming that space up between your hands. Feeling into that space. Imagine you have invisible feelers on your hands that are warming up that space. Allowing your breath to soften into that space. And then take one hand onto the heart and the other hand again in the back. Change around if that feels better for you. And if you can't reach that high, just allow your palm in the back to open towards that space. And then warm up that space. Space of a kind, open, loving appreciation. And then you guessed it, we go to the throat, taking one hand to the front, very gently holding, one hand to the back and warming that space up between your hands. Space of the throat, clarity, precision of expression, and the openness of your communication with yourself and others. the part of us that sometimes doesn't stand up for ourselves when we should, or maybe stands up for ourselves a little bit too harshly when we shouldn't. So just allowing that area to become smooth and shame-free, guilt-free, just clear. And then we move to the third eye, our intuitive space, our connection to our inner teacher, our inner truth. And just breathing into those hands. And then take the hands down and just feeling into the crown. And imagine that you are sucking up the energy from the roots all the way to the crown. So engage the Muladhara, the Bandha, which is the pelvic floor, and sucking up, inhaling all the way to the crown. And on the out-breath, softening down into earth. And I will chant the mantra to tune us in whilst you do that. Om Asatu Ma Satgamaya Tamasu Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. If you are sitting cross-legged, if you need to, change the cross of your legs. And we shall do 3 Oms together to tune, in particular, into the roots. So make an intention of softening into the roots as you do the M sound. So Aum 3 times. Deep inhale. Take a moment to just feel into your body, feeling if there are any subtle changes, and then start moving about. So wriggle your toes, circle your ankles, one way and the other. Point and flex, moving the rest of your body, shoulders forward and backwards, maybe a little twist. Just do whatever feels right for you at this moment, and then once you have done that, we can move into our first active posture for the root energy center. Here again we have a few options to make this easier for you. It is a squat, because squats are really good for activating our roots and lengthening our spine. So taking your feet wide apart, and then you can either sit on a bolster or on several stacked up blankets, or if that comes easy to you, you can do this without a bolster, first holding onto the ground, taking your knees apart, softening the feet into the ground, and then just allowing that tailbone to drop. Opening the front of the body. With your elbows, you can, within your limits, slightly push your knees apart, your thighs apart, up to a stretch sensation of about 5 or 6 out of 10. So be playful with that and see where that is for you. And if that is possible for you, you can take the hands together here and just let the tailbone sink, bringing length in particular to your lower spine, and breathe deeply. If you wish, you can do a bija mantra, the bija mantra that activates the root. Lam. So you can, on the out breath, chant Lam. Lam. Make sure the front of the body remains nice and open, the top light as a feather, the tailbone sinking to earth. Lam. I give you these bija mantras as options. The bija mantras are very good for activating those areas, but also because there is humming involved in the bija mantras, you are going to shake up the cells and make them release whatever has become blocked in there. Take a moment just to go into child pose, just to feel what has changed. You can take your head on your hands, or you can stretch your hands out in front of you. If it is difficult for you to be in child pose, you can use bolsters to give yourself a little lift. Or you can also take your hands on top of a chair, like this, to get a halfway child pose. See what is available to you. Okay, after this, we are moving on to go on our back. Today is a hot day. I don't know how warm it is where you are, but make sure you have water available near you so that you can keep hydrated. That is really important. So now we are moving from the root energy center to the sacral energy center, just below the navel. For that, take one leg sideways on top of the other, lie on your back, and you can take a half block or a folded blanket behind your head to give your head a little lift, and then just let the legs go from side to side. Some of you have told me that they were able to do these live streams in the garden. So if anyone is doing this in the garden right now, I wonder if you might be seeing this sky that is really still today. Quite amazing. There's no movement in those clouds, at least not how I can see. So focus on the space of your sacral, just between the navel and the pubic bone, and let those legs go from one side to the other. The sacral energy center is connected to flowing. So allow that flow to wake up that energy center. And you're still feeling rooted by connecting into the foot that is standing on the ground, connecting that foot to the side of the foot, to the middle, and then the other side. And then at some point, you allow that leg that is up to come down with the foot to the ground. So planting that foot on the ground so that the lower leg is lying sideways on the ground. And if you can feel this already, just breathe into wherever you are feeling the sensation. If you are not feeling much here, then you can take the lower leg a little higher, slide it a little higher towards your arms, or you take the lower leg a little further away from you if it is too intense. So again, as we are connecting to the sacral energy center, this is your opportunity to be playful and in a curious way investigate, where is my 6 out of 10 optimal sensation that still allows me to breathe with ease, but that gives me a sensation that I can sink myself into, that I can really feel my body within. And breathe into that sensation as if that sensation was an extra lung. So as you inhale, you expand to that space where you feel it. And you can also imagine that you are inhaling into your sacral energy center, the color orange. And then slowly coming back to the middle. Change around, but take a moment just to feel. Take the other leg up. And then going from side to side. Feeling that changing connection through the foot that is on the ground. So I shall call that leg, where the foot is on the ground, your root leg. And the other leg will be your branch leg. Just for now. Feeling how you are flowing through that space in your lower spine. Making the movement as smooth as you possibly can. And then at some point, you will lay your root leg on its outer side and allow your branch leg to come down to the ground with the foot of the branch leg planted on the ground softly. And then, as we did on the other side, adjust. You might need to go a little higher, you might need to go a little lower. So the intention of this pose is that we activate the hip flexor in its upper region, so between the sacral energy center and between the solar plexus. The hip flexor is the only muscle that flows from the root all the way to the solar plexus, so it goes through 3 energy centers. So just by stretching and moving the hip flexor, we are already activating and releasing blockages out of those 3 energy centers. So become aware if any emotions are coming up as you are doing this. And see if your body wants to do any movements that don't come from a restless space, but come from a yearning of the body, as something that just feels right for you right now. And then come slowly back to the middle. Stretch your legs out if that feels good for you, or keep them bent if that is better for your back. If you can stretch your legs out, just allow yourself to connect to the ground and notice what you notice. Reconnect. Feel into your senses. What do you feel in your roots? What do you feel in your sacral? And perhaps you even can feel something in your solar plexus already. We are going to now move onto all fours. And we are still with the sacral energy center. having our feet rooted into the ground. That aspect of it is the root energy center. And we're going to move the spine up into the hill, down into the valley. Tucking under, coming back out. And see if you can allow that movement to start from the roots by engaging the pelvic floor. So as you breathe out, tuck under the hips and allow the movement to travel up until you can let your head dangle down, just releasing any tension that might be in the neck. And on the inhale, you take the tailbone back out, sitting bones up, and allow the movement to flow upwards towards the back of your head, allowing the whole of the spine to move and be in flow. And if that feels right for you, you can take a break on either side of the position and take a few breaths before you resume on the out breath, coming into the hill position with your back, on the in breath into the valley. And take a break whenever that is needed. Come back to the middle. Take your right leg back. Taking the heel back so that you feel a stretch in your calf muscle. Slightly bend your knees, your back knee, so it's a very, very subtle bend, keeping the heel extended away from you, and then you might feel that the stretch goes lower down towards the lower calf muscle and the Achilles tendon. And then you take that leg forward and just take a moment from here to go forward and backwards. And this movement forward and backwards is for you to ascertain where is the right position for my foot. So if as you go forward the knee travels beyond the ankle here, so you can see the knee is further forward, then that means that you are quite flexible in this region and you can take the foot a little further forward. If you need to, please put a block behind the back knee. And see if you are able to keep your back straight. If it isn't possible to keep the back straight, you can here take a bolster or several stacked blankets or cork blocks and raise your hands to put them onto the bolster. So adjusting the position of the bolster wherever that feels right. And here again, as we did before, we are warming up our hip flexor. We are moving the hip flexor, but we are also working, because we are in a flow with this movement, our sacral energy center. The seat of emotions, the seat of sensuality. The sensuality, if you dip your toes into cool sea water, that kind of feeling. And then at some point, staying forward, we are moving up to Manipura, to the solar plexus. So imagine that from your roots, you're engaging the pelvic floor, inhaling up to the solar plexus, sucking the energy up. Open the front of the body, extending the front knee away from the back knee. And you can see here in this position that my knee is on top of my ankle. It is not going beyond the ankle. So adjust the position as it feels right for you. And hopefully you will be feeling a stretch in the hip flexor, so in the front of the hip of the back leg. If you want to make the solar plexus work stronger, then you tuck your back leg under, your back foot under, lift yourself up and take the arms up and hold that here, ideally with your thigh as parallel as possible to the ground. And then we go into a flow again. Inhale, exhale, raising the energy from the root to the solar plexus. Exhale to the side like a sun shining out. Inhale, exhale, connect your fingers into the periphery as if your hands were being moved by an outside force. Strings on your fingertips, and slowly come back down. Come back for a moment, roll the bolster back if you are using a bolster, or just take your hands back. Keep your body upright, shoulders broad and wide. And just let your foot relax there and feel the stretch in your back thigh. Opening the front of the body, relaxing the foot. If you're not feeling anything, take the sitting bones up a little, and then you will feel the sensation stronger there. Make sure you are spacious between your shoulders and your ears. Breathe deeply. We are back in the sacral energy center because we are working the bladder meridian right now, which is connected to water, and the sacral energy center is connected to the element water as well. And slowly coming back out. Take a moment to sit in Vajrasana, just noticing what you notice. See how you feel. Feel your heart, feel your breath. And you know that if you can't sit in Vajrasana, you're welcome to sit on a chair or on the bolster. And then take the other leg forward. And remember, it is optional to have the hands a little elevated, either with cork blocks or with a bolster, and then bringing some movement, warming up that hip flexor. The hip flexor, when shortened, can pull on the spine and is also connected to lots of back muscles. So very often, pain in the back is connected to a shortness of the hip flexor. The hip flexor shortens if we do lots of activities where we have to sit. So we're passively shortening the hip flexor. So we're bringing some movement into the hip flexor. And remember, your knee should not go beyond your ankle. So if as you go forward, you're doing this, take the foot slightly further forward to open that space for your knee. And then stay forward. Now a chance to breathe into Manipura, the solar plexus, the place of your strength, your inner warmth, your wisdom to learn from mistakes. In fact, the willingness to risk, the willingness to take a risk. He who does not risk does not gain, you know. So the willingness to jump into a new project and allow yourself to just try something new, even if it might fail. But it is also your presence, so that the aura, the strength of your aura, your warmth, your happiness. So breathe into that space as you are in this position. Breathing into that space, just where the ribs part, the lowest part of your sternum, your breastbone. And then if you wish, you can stay here, if that is good for you. If you want to make it a little more challenging for you, I would understand. On a hot day like today, you might not want to. Tuck your back toe under, engage your pelvic floor, inhale from the roots all the way to the Manipura, and inhale coming up, exhale coming down. Strings on your fingertips, invisible feelers that feel the space beyond you, invisibly being moved by the space. Inhale, exhale, Inhale, raising the energy to the solar plexus. Exhale, release. One more time. Inhale, exhale, come back down. Take the sitting bones back, lift the sitting bones, relaxing the toes, feeling the stretch on the back thigh. If you are not feeling the stretch on the back thigh, lift the sitting bones slightly, make sure your shoulders are nice and wide and open, smiling from collarbone to collarbone, and just relax the foot down. Bring your spine into alignment. Feel that length as if you had a string on your crown, lengthening you away from your tailbone. And breathe into the sensation you are feeling, ideally in the back of your thigh. Let's see what comes next. Okay. So after the sacral and Manipura, we are going to do a standing posture, one more for the solar plexus. And the posture I have chosen for this today is Asana, the goddess pose. So take your feet apart and feel the ground through your feet. Soften your toes. So take a moment to wriggle your toes and bring some length into the base of your toes. And let your heels soften into the ground. Let every part of your foot that is in connection with the ground, so the arches should be slightly lifted, if that is naturally so for you, and the rest just softening into the ground as if you had roots growing in through your feet. And then allow the knees to bend, pointing towards the middle toes, and upright your pelvis. So if you had a string with helium balloons attached just below the navel, and you imagine that lifting quality upwards. So it is just a gentle lift. It is not going under too much, just a gentle uprighting so your spine can be lightly sitting within that. So bring your pelvis into that position. Engage the pelvic floor, inhaling up to the solar plexus and slowly come up, imagining you have a string on the top of your head or a bungee rope that is still holding you up. So you're suspending yourself from that bungee rope, coming down. So you're going down against the resistance. Check your feet. Are your feet still soft? Knees pointing back. Inhale, sucking up to the solar plexus. And then on the out breath, take your arms to the side and shining out. So you have a sun on the center here that with the out breath is shining out, shining the warmth to the world. Through your fingertips, through the top of your head, imagine a sphere expanding beyond you. Inhaling up the force of the earth to the solar plexus, freeing that channel with your breath. On the out breath, shining into space. Are your thighs burning yet? Imagine taking more of that heat into your solar plexus, and then you have more heat to shine out into the world. More joy to spread. Very good, well done. Shake your legs out. Circle your hips a little. One way and the other way. Shake your feet. Shake your arms, shake your shoulders. And inhale. Exhale, let go. Inhale. Exhale, let go. Inhale. Exhale, let go. The next thing we are going to do is a practice from Botma, which I like to mix with our yoga and take elements out of into the yoga postures. And the first thing we're going to do is working on our walk, our soft walk. And then we will bring the arms in to bring an expansive heart quality into this. So the first thing I would like you to do is just soften your feet into the ground. Bring that upright pelvis quality in, so slightly lifting your pelvis, pulling the belly in and up, relaxing the shoulders, broad shoulders, smile from collarbone to collarbone, lifting the back of the neck, taking the head slightly back as if you had a thread on your crown, and keep the knees relaxed. And then imagine you have a string that is connected parallel to the ground to your right knee. So your right knee is being drawn forward, and by your right knee being drawn forward, you peel that foot off the ground, which transfers the weight to the left. Softening that left foot into the ground, you take that right foot forward. Just a very small step. And then that string moves to the left knee. Peeling, just a slight lift of that knee parallel to the ground, peeling that back foot off the ground, and then with the least effort possible, placing that foot forward. Just a very small step, and the string on the back knee. A fraction of knee movement before the heel starts moving off. And this kind of walking ensures that the walk is really smooth and soft on the knees and on the hips. So I encourage you, when you go for your next walk, just to pay attention to that fraction of knee movement and that conscious rolling the foot off the ground, and that conscious reconnecting to the ground, and you're shifting your weight by peeling off your back foot. And now we're going to take the hands into this. So rub your hands together, make them hot. And most of you have done this with me before, that exercise where we feel the space between our hands, where we feel that expansive space. And maybe if someone new is watching, you probably have done this in other practices before. So what we're going to do with this is take one hand to the back as high as we can towards the heart. If you can't reach as high as the heart, just go to wherever it is possible for you to allow the palm to face the heart space. And the other hand here, just softly connecting, not touching, just softly connecting, as if the warmth between your hands was feelable through your heart. And then you imagine your heart expanding, bringing your arms to the front and back, coming round and coming back. Expanding the heart, connecting to the outside world, bringing the impressions back into your heart. Expanding, connecting, bringing the impressions into the heart. Expanding and coming into yourself. So there's a harmony between connecting to others and being still within yourself. Reaching out, expanding with an accepting, appreciating love, connecting to others, coming back to the heart, being still. And that movement is like a spiraling movement, spiraling in, spiraling out. You can bring some rhythm into that movement, out and in. And remember these threads that I mentioned on the fingertips earlier, those threads that feel into the distance. As you connect out, you have those threads that make you feel whatever your fingertips point to. So bring your imagination into play. So I'm feeling the walls, I'm feeling the windows through my fingertips. I'm not overreaching, I'm just gently elongating. And then shall we dare to walk with this? So we are taking the left foot slightly forward, the right hand on the front. As we pull that thread on the back knee, transferring the weight, that is when the arms come out. And as that foot moves forward, the arms come in. Back knee, back heel, foot peeling off, foot moving forward. And you can always check yourself in those moments when the hands are back on the heart. Do I have the opposite foot to the hand at the front? Feel that connection through your crown. Inhale. Exhale. Breathing into the heart. As you inhale, the back foot peels off, initiated by the knee. As the arms come back to the heart, the foot moves forward. Last one. Inhale, expanding into the distance with your fingertips. And bring the hands down. I hope you had space to do this wherever you were. Obviously, if you didn't have the space, you could do this just in where you are, in standing on your mat. So the last thing we're going to do in a standing position is going to be a tree pose. And we're going to do the tree pose with Atmanjali Mudra, so the hands to the heart, to activate the heart space again. Taking all your weight onto your left foot. And your right foot is still connected to the ground. Remember, the knee soft, the foot rooted, the hip upright, solar plexus lifted, shoulders relaxed, back of the neck elongated, feeling the thread on the top of the head. Pull the belly in and up to give firmness to your core. That is the best abdominal exercise there is, just pulling that belly in and up. You can feel your belly muscles working just by pulling in and up. So taking all that weight over, freeing your toes, really softening into the ground. And then you can take the other foot, your right foot, outward. Checking that your hip is still aligned, that your hip is not moving out towards that foot. So see how far you can bring your knee round, keeping your pelvis frontal and aligned. And then when that feels right, when you feel you have your balance, take that leg up as high as it will go without the help of your arms. Just see how high you can naturally lift it. Check on your pelvis again. Is your pelvis still aligned? If you are losing your balance, check on your crown connection. If the head remains upright, you will stay in balance. Let your foot be soft. The foot connected to the ground, allow it to be soft. And here you have a choice. Either place your hands on invisible blocks next to you, or take the hands to the heart. And then slowly, gently releasing. Taking your weight towards the other foot, softening your foot to the ground. Playfully extending your toes, relaxing the knee, the standing knee, uprighting the pelvis, connecting the crown. Pull the belly in and up to firm your core. That will also give you extra stability. Take the free foot, so your left foot outwards. Make sure that your knee is relaxed and your knee pointing out. The standing knee, your tree knee, the root knee, is relaxed, the branch knee, open, the pelvis aligned, and then go as high as is comfortable for you to go to freely. See if you can come up without the help of your hands. And then if you can, if that is needed, put your hands either side on invisible supports. Imagine that you had two walls there, or take your hands to the heart. Connecting to the heart quality, softening into the heart, lengthening into the crown, relaxing the shoulders. Gracefully come back out. Just take a moment to stand there, relaxing into the space, relaxing the shoulders, lengthening the back of your neck, softening into your space. And then come down to the ground, and we will do one last pose for the heart space. So I would like you to come onto your hands and then onto the elbows. So on all fours. And then keeping your hips above your knees. So make sure your hips in a moment don't travel forward or go backwards. Keep your hips above your knees. And then start taking your elbows forward and open your heart down to the ground. And with your head you can choose. You can either put your head down on the forehead, or you can take your chin forward, and you will feel a stretch in the arm region, in the armpit region. You can take the hands together on top of your head, palms facing. And then taking the sitting bones up and opening, surrendering your heart to earth. If that is hard for you to do, instead you can be here and just opening from one side to the other side. That will also work in the heart region. So breathing into the heart space, taking the elbows forward, opening the heart to earth. Slowly coming back up, just feeling on all fours into that space, spaciousness between shoulders and ears, just extending out from the top of the head to the tailbone. And then come into Vajrasana, sitting on your heels, opening the front of the body, allowing one palm inside the other. And we are going to move up to the throat energy center. So just for a moment, allow your head to drop, feeling the stretch on the back of the neck. Bringing the head up, looking over to your left shoulder, looking over to the right shoulder, and breathing spaciousness into the throat area. Now we are going to work with the eyes. So the eyes are going to precede the movement. So I would like you to let your eyes gaze down and then follow where the eyes are going, looking down. Then whilst the head is looking down, you take the eyes up, looking towards your eyebrows, and then allow the head to follow where the eyes are gazing. And then reverse that, looking down, following. And see how smoothly you can move your eyes. It will differ in which direction you're moving your eyes, how smoothly you can make that transition from down to up. See if the eye jumps anywhere, and just become aware of that. Looking down with the eyes and following. And come back to the middle and do the same to the side. So let your eyes look into the left eye socket and then follow with the nose. Let your eyes look to the right, follow with the nose. So by doing these kind of movements that are combined with the eyes, we are already connecting the throat and the third eye. And we are bringing spaciousness to the throat and the third eye. The throat energy center, the space of your communication with yourself. The open communication. How aware are you of the things that your body is storing, your body is keeping stuck inside? Sometimes it's not even about what we say to others with clarity. How clear are we with ourselves? How honest are we with ourselves? What are we suppressing and hiding from ourselves? And now take your eyes to the left diagonal upper corner. So from left diagonal up, so from 10 o'clock down to 5 o'clock. So the eyes going up and the nose is following. The eyes going down to 5 o'clock and the nose is following. And maybe make that 11 o'clock. Between 11 and 10 is perhaps better. So 10:30. Let's stay on 10:30. And then 4:30. Let the eyes move up as smoothly as you can and the nose follows. Come back to the middle. And then we'll go to 1:30 with the eyes, follow with the nose. 7:30 with the eyes, follow with the nose. And you will probably feel that certain directions come much easier to you than others. And it is good to train the eyes in these, in particular in the ones where you feel like, oh, my eye, I can't move my eye smoothly between those two directions. So then that is an indication where you might need to work. Okay, good. Now just let your head drop to one side. Tuck the chin in, drop to the other side. Lengthen diagonally upwards like this and drop the shoulders down. Lengthen diagonally upwards like this and drop the shoulders down. And then just remain in the middle. Feel spaciousness in your throat. And then come and lie on your back. If you would like to do downward dog for a moment, just to release out of your neck, then please, you can do that as well. If you don't want to do a downward dog today, then just lay on your back for a moment, feeling what is going on. So take the knees, the distance between knees and hands, a little bigger than the distance between your shoulders and your hips. Tuck the toes under, lift the sitting bones, engage the pelvic floor. On an out breath, allow your sitting bones to rise up, the shoulders in the direction of the sitting bones, stretching away from the hands, and then the sitting bones rising only as far as you can keep your spine lengthened without any round areas in your spine, not like this, but more in that length. So for some, that means you need to bend your knees more to achieve that straight spine position. Some of you will quite easily be able to have the spine straight and the knees straight. So see what feels right for you. And then bring your chest, allow your chest to rise towards the wrists, lifting the solar plexus,
And then let the head dangle down like a rag doll, saying yes, yes, no, no. Breathing deeply. Come down into child pose. Just for a moment. Allowing yourself to rest. And then come and lay on your back. Obviously, if you want to do any poses a little longer than we are doing today, please go with that. Or equally, if I'm in a pose too long for you, do whatever feels right for you. You are your own best teacher. Take your body and lie on your back. Have your feet on the ground, so the knees bend. Engage the pelvic floor, tucking under the hips. Exhale, releasing back down to the ground. And then make that movement bigger every time. So you're tucking under the hips with your out breath, engaging the pelvic floor, lifting up a little. And as you're doing this, imagine the energy rising from where you engage your pelvic floor all the way up to your throat. And gradually, with every movement, you come a little higher, feeling the energy rise a little higher. Until you feel a lift in your chest area, chest coming towards the chin, and that is when the energy is up in the throat area. So let that journey be a gradual one for you, if that is needed. Make sure your feet are always softly planted into the ground. Broad your feet, broad your base. Tucking under, engaging the pelvic floor. Imagining the rise of the energy through the central channel all the way to the throat. Still feeling spaciousness in the throat, even as you're contracting in. And then staying up here, holding it, engaging the buttock muscles, but not clenching the buttock cheeks together. Feeling the heat in the thighs. Inhaling it up. Exhale, resting your body back on the ground. Openness in the shoulders, spaciousness, palms facing up. Stretch your legs out and just feel. Feel what has changed. Feeling, in particular, into that throat region. Feeling also into your mind. Is the mind feeling still or restless, spacious or tight? Take your feet back up and then lift your hips and take them over to the right. Take your elbows, if that is available to you, a little higher than your shoulders, palms facing up. Take your knees and lift them above the hips, 90-degree angle in your knees. And then from here, allow your legs to come down to the ground, resting them on the ground. So if you have shifted I can't remember what I said now. I think we shifted our hips to the right, so that means knees to the left. So letting the knees drop down to the left and breathing the opposite shoulder into the ground. If coming into this position means that your shoulders are lifting off the ground, you can either put a rolled up blanket underneath your shoulder to rest on, or you can put a bolster or the blanket underneath your legs. See what works for you. And then breathing deeply into the third eye. Allow your head to come from side to side. Inhaling the energy up from your roots, awareness into the third eye. And at some point when that feels right, looking over your back shoulder. Palms facing up, shoulders relaxed. Breathing your shoulders into the ground with every out breath. Inhaling into any areas where you feel a sensation. If this asana doesn't quite allow you to feel any sensation because you're very flexible in the muscles around the spine, then you can tuck your top leg underneath your bottom leg. If when you do this your breast starts feeling tight, then that is probably taking it just a little too far, then backtrack a little. Find the position that is right for you by being playful here. Maybe you want to do some movements with your legs to find where is the right position for my leg so that I feel it in the muscles alongside the spine. And once you have found the right position, that's where you then allow your leg to rest and breathe into the space between the eyebrows. Your intuitive space. And then slowly coming back, taking your hip back to the middle, aligning your spine again, resting your feet in the ground, and just taking a moment to feel into the ground. Soften yourself, see what has changed. And then lifting your hips, taking them to the left, taking the legs up, 90-degree angle in the hips, 90-degree angle in the knees, and taking the legs down to the ground. Remember, if your shoulder is lifting off the ground, stabilize it with something behind your shoulders or put something underneath your knees to put a lift there. And then breathing into the third eye. Allow your head to roll from side to side. And remember, if you need to, you can fold the top leg around the bottom leg or investigate where is the right position for my leg so that I can feel it in the muscles alongside my spine. By doing these little movements, you're also hydrating the fascia, hydrating the tissues around the muscles. So it's a win-win situation. And when that feels right for you, look in the opposite way to where your legs are. Allow your body to surrender to earth. Slowly, gently, coming back. Resting yourself into your space. You can choose today if you would rather lie on your back or if you would rather sit. We are going to do a meditation journey through the energy centers. So you can just realign your spine here, stretch your legs out, be in corpse pose with the palms facing up, or you can put a bolster underneath your knees like this. In the restorative position, or you can come into a seated position. So make yourself comfortable. If you have an eye cushion, put an eye cushion on your eyes. And then become aware of your breath. Allowing yourself to sink into earth. Feeling your connection to your roots. Feeling your connection to Mother Earth. Allowing yourself to soften to earth. Visualizing those roots growing into earth. Your connection to earth makes you feel safe, makes you feel worthy of nourishment without having to do anything in return. Being cared for and looked after, just for being. So soften yourself into that earth space. Surrender your whole being to earth by giving yourself to gravity, giving your whole weight to the support of the earth. In your mind's eye, the sound Lam. If you wish, you can make that sound with your voice, but you can also just think Lam. Trusting yourself to earth. And then becoming aware of your sacral energy center. That part in you that is playful. That part in you that is soft. That part in you that is curious. That still looks at life with a sense of wonder. Allow yourself to connect
into that space between the navel and the pubic bone. Feeling an orange sphere or an orange flame playfully flickering in the wind. A very soft breeze making that flame flicker. The flame is strong and the flame gets bigger, shinier, more playful. Breathing into that space of joy, that space that is the seat of your feelings. And then slowly journeying further up into your solar plexus, that space just at the bottom of the breastbone, and visualize a sun. Visualizing a sun extending, expanding out. A warm sphere, feeling strong, feeling courageous. A willingness to try something new, and a wisdom to learn from mistakes. Feeling that space beyond your skin, expansive, warm and wide. A yellow, sunny yellow sphere expanding out from the center of your body into the periphery. Strength. The willingness to stand up for yourself, feeling empowered to stand up for your beliefs in a kind way. And then bringing your awareness a little higher into the heart space. Imagining inhaling a green light into the heart space. Allowing that green light to expand into your whole being, expand into all the cells. A kind, soft, all-encompassing, appreciating, accepting love of everything that you are. The sun shines onto everyone. The sun does not differentiate. So allow the sun to shine into your heart. Allow your own sun, that sun that expanded out from your solar plexus, to shine into that space of the heart. You are worthy of love. You are worthy to be loved just as you are. Allow that unconditional love, that kind, accepting love, to become so strong within you that every cell, every molecule, every particle of you is touched by that breath, that green breath of light. And then take your awareness into the throat region. Imagining a wide blue sky on a sunny day, cloudless, spacious, endless, infinite, expanding out from your throat, bringing clarity, bringing an openness to see truthfully, to see things for what they are. A precision of expression, expressing yourself kindly, but openly. Being aware of your weaknesses and strength, seeing them openly, and being accepting of that, so bringing the heart quality into the throat. I allow myself to be who I am. I accept my inner truth. And from that space we can grow. From that space of acceptance, we can expand ourselves into infinite possibilities. And take that openness into the third eye. Allowing the third eye to be like a night sky, endless galaxies of stars expanding into yourself. Imagining you are traveling at the speed of light through the stars, one star after the other appearing. And as your vision becomes stronger, you see more and more stars appearing. Travel through your third eye, through the space between your eyebrows, into you with that imagination. Endless, infinite. A purple light, indigo blue and purple. Inhaling through your third eye. Being open to the guidance of your inner teacher. Being open to the voice of your intuition. Allowing the channel of freedom, of openness from the throat to open that space into the third eye. Allowing that purple color to become stronger with every inhale, purer with every out-breath. as you release everything that is in the way of you perceiving with clarity. Maybe just asking the question, what is it that I need to know? Being open to just ask that question. And the answer will come. Maybe not now, maybe overnight, maybe next week. It doesn't matter. Just asking the question, what is it that I need to know, that I need to look at? And then taking your awareness through all those energy centers, imagining the red connecting to the orange, connecting to the sunny yellow, connecting to the light green, connecting to the blue, connecting to the purple indigo blue, and imagining that rainbow starting to spiral faster and faster towards the crown. And as it spirals faster and faster, we know that when light breaks, it turns into rainbow colors. We see those rainbow colors as they become whole, becoming light. And we feel that light flowing openly through our crown, feeling that light stretching from beyond the roots all the way up to the crown and beyond, from the crown all the way down into the roots. And we feel like a lotus flower at the top of the head. A flower that keeps opening more and more petals, a luminous white flower, fed by that circling, spiraling rainbow of light, streaming upwards from the roots. And that force opening one petal after the other. You're open to the divine, open to the higher consciousness, open to allow that stream of light to flow in both directions, opening that flower to receive, opening that flower to give, giving and receiving through the crown. So beautiful, every petal more beautiful than the one that has opened before. As you slowly unfold, as that light flows through every last thing that needs to flow out, you allow it to flow. Everything that is no longer needed, that has served its purpose, can flow into earth. Be with that imagination for as long as that feels right. Breathing into that flower. Inhaling, opening, breathing out, surrendering, rooting. Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bonaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahe Om Shanti 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 Lie there for as long as that feels right, or sit there. With love and blessings.